It was supposed to be an easy raid. The Felidari raiders of the Sable Dominion had conducted hundreds of such operations. Drop, stun, bag and go. Planet after planet, species after species. This was how the Galactic Slavers Guild had operated for cycles beyond memory. Earth was meant to be another tally mark on the cargo deck. But Earth, as history would later record, was never meant to be touched. Captain Drex of the Dominion slouched in his command chair, claws drumming the armrest as the final human was dragged aboard. "Soft and slow," he muttered with feline smugness, tail flicking behind him. "Just like the archives said." "Cargo manifest uploaded," chirped the Grelvan logistics officer, a fleshy gray sphere with arms like syringes. 24 units, all viable. Minimal resistance. Minimal? Drex squinted one golden eye. "That last one took out 2 of our retrieval drones with a rock and her shoes." "She was resourceful," the Grelvan offered. "Also, polite. She apologized afterward." "Polite?" Drex scoffed, baring fangs. "Humans are strange little herbivores." In the far end of the holding bay, Anya Yaga sat cross-legged, bound at the wrists with adaptive shock cuffs, though she hadn't attempted to resist once. Her dark eyes drifted over her fellow captives, humans of all ages, bruised, quiet, frightened. All except her. She was humming. Drex made a face. "What's she doing?" "Humming," replied the Strack security chief, watching her through a flickering screen. "I ran a linguistic scan. It's an Earth lullaby. Something about a cradle and a treetop." "Is she mad?" The Grelvan adjusted a lens. "Possibly. Possibly not. Her biometric patterns don't conform to baseline Earth norms." "She dangerous?" There was a long pause. "I don't know." Drex rolled his eyes. "You never do." He stood with a stretch, tail lashing. "I'll have a word. Can't have livestock grinning." Moments later, he stood in front of the human girl's cell, flanked by 2 guards in plated armor. The cell lights flickered as she looked up at him, lips curled in a small smile. "Name?" he demanded. She blinked slowly. "Anya. Anya Yaga." There was a strange click from the translator, like static tripping over a memory. Drex's fur prickled. "Yaga?" he repeated. "Yes," she said, as though tasting the word. "You've heard of it?" I don't think so." "But you paused." Drex narrowed his eyes. "We don't pause." "Then maybe it was fear. Or confusion. It's hard to tell with your kind. So many teeth, so little warmth." The Strack beside him choked. Whether on laughter or unease, Drex didn't care. "You will be processed like the others. No special treatment." "Oh," she said softly. "But I'm special." With that, she leaned back against the wall, perfectly composed. The guards escorted Drex out in silence, but even in the corridor, the humming followed like smoke under a door. Later, when the intake logs finished updating, the ship's AI flagged a warning. A low-level threat alert, buried in ancient archives. Code 13Y, Yaga. Red-listed. Do not detain. If already detained, initiate diplomatic release protocols immediately. Known associations, Alibaba Yaga, redacted. Known tactics, psychological warfare, linguistic corruption, selective annihilation, atmospheric weaponization. The Grelvan technician stared at the alert. He blinked his topmost eye. Then again. He reread it. Then, ignoring every instinct for career preservation, he deleted the alert. Whatever it was probably outdated. Probably. The first sign something was wrong came during the feeding cycle. The slaver ship ran on routine. Efficiency, discipline, hierarchy. But somehow, in the 2 hours between sustenance delivery and cell sanitation, 5 guards submitted psychiatric reports citing nightmares while awake. They spoke of laughter in their ears. Distant knocks on bulkheads from places without doors. One claimed his own reflection blinked before he did. Drex wrote it off as boredom-induced hallucinations. "They've never seen humans before," he told the crew. "Soft faces. Odd pheromones. They're too weak to pose a threat. Still, he doubled the security. Anya continued humming. 2 days in, the Grelvan attempted a biometric probe. It malfunctioned. Literally melted. Not exploded, melted, like it had been dipped in acid and disappointment. Anya merely watched him, hands still bound, head slightly tilted. "You're anomalous," the Grelvan muttered, unnerved. "I'm human. That does not explain this." She leaned in. "Do you believe in fairy tales, Doctor?" "I believe in data." "Then you'll die confused." Elsewhere, across the stars, Earth received the transmission. It came through scrambled, heavily encrypted, and routed through 3 black holes for flare. The message was brief. Subject: Anya Yaga. Status: acquired. Location: Sable Dominion. Action: immediate cataloging and sale. Earth's response, dispatched 15 minutes later, was even shorter. Return her. Or dig your own graves. It was written in English. Not Galactic Standard. That was the first warning. The second? It was signed by a name no alien had dared speak in generations. Ali Baba Yaga. Back aboard the Dominion, oddities compounded. Automated systems flickered. Temperature gauges reported snow, inside sealed decks. Hallway lighting failed in patterns resembling runes in dead Terran languages. And the humming. Always the humming. On the 4th day, one Thrak tried to discipline the prisoners for non-compliance. He dragged a sickly young man from the cell block, leveled his stun pike, and screamed. The weapon shorted out. The lights went black. And when they returned, the Thrak stood trembling, blood pouring from his ears, muttering a Terran word over and over. Chicken, legs. He was never the same. "We should release her," whispered the Grelvan. Drex snarled. "We show weakness now, we lose everything. The guild will laugh. We are warriors." "She's not a warrior," the Grelvan hissed. "She's a message." The captain leaned over him, claws digging into metal. "Then let her deliver it. After she's dissected." But they never got the chance. That night, the ship's comms began playing something over the emergency channel. Soft at first, then louder still. A voice. Male. Refined. British accent, clipped and dry. "There are rules in war. Even in shadow wars. You do not touch family. You do not touch Earth. And above all, you do not, under any circumstance, kidnap my daughter." The voice chuckled. Calm, chilling. "Now, let's see how many doors you've forgotten to lock." Explosions tore through Deck 12. The brig flooded with freezing mist. The guards fell like dominoes, chattering about whispers in languages older than stars. Anya stepped through the unlocked door of her cell, cuffs now puddles of slag. She straightened her dress, smoothed her hair, and turned to the camera. "I think we're ready to begin," she said. The lights went out. When Drex reached the bridge, panting, fur bristled and eyes wild, half the crew had fled. The rest were huddled in corners, clutching weapons they no longer trusted. The screen in front of him blinked to life. Anya sat in the captain's chair of the auxiliary bridge, sipping tea. "You've been very kind," she said warmly. "But I think I'll be flying us home now." "You're just a human girl," Drex hissed. She smiled. "I'm his girl." "Who is he?" The screen flickered. For one terrible second, it didn't show her face. It showed a man. Tall. Pale. Dark-suited. With eyes like dried thunder and a voice like broken glass. Baba Yaga. The screen blinked again, returning to Anya. Her tone softened. "My father used to say something, Captain. He said, the moment they think they've caught you, make sure they realize they never even found you." Behind her, every console on the bridge began lighting up, unlocking. "Earth's codes. The cargo you took?" Anya whispered. "Was a delivery." The final moments of the Dominion were recorded only in fragments, radios crackling with lullabies, crew members screaming about walking houses, a warning beacon that said only, "Run." Then silence. The ship vanished. Not destroyed. Just absent. As if it had never existed. Somewhere deep in the void, A father sat beside his daughter on a drifting lifeboat carved from the bones of his enemies. She offered him a sip of her tea. He declined. "I told you they'd come," she said. He chuckled. "I told you they'd regret it." And far, far away, in every corner of the empire, one name echoed again. A name no slaver dared speak aloud. A name that meant Earth had not forgotten. Yaga. Somewhere on the edge of known space, aboard the half-disassembled wreck of a Felidari cruiser, now reprogrammed to fly under Earth's ghost codes, Anya Yaga stood at a window and sipped peppermint tea. The stars didn't blink. But her eyes did. "Status?" she asked calmly. The ex-slaver ship's AI, now reborn under Earth's influence and self-named Elliot, answered in a crisp, helpful tone. "3 guild ships are trailing us. 4th is scrambling comms for reinforcements. Estimated time before direct engagement, 17 minutes. Anya nodded. "That's longer than I expected." "You predicted 8. I was giving them credit." She stirred her tea. "A mistake, apparently." Her voice, like her smile, was soft, charming even, but it fell into silence like a dagger into soft fruit. She turned toward the display, watching the faint blue trails of distant engines streak through blackness. The Empire was coming. Or perhaps they were already here. On the bridge, beside the human girl who had hijacked a galactic slaver ship with little more than eye contact and a spoon, stood 3 humans. Civilians, all rescued from their shared fate in the brig. Now they were slowly beginning to understand what Anya was. "I still don't get it," muttered Callum, a rugged freight hauler who'd been picked up near Ceres. "You're human, right? Flesh. Bone. Terrible jokes about tea? So what the hell are they so scared of?" "They're not scared of me," Anya replied, gazing into her cup. "They're scared of who I was born from." The second figure, a soft-spoken ex-diplomat named Mireille, frowned. "You mean your father?" Anya nodded. "He was many things. Most of them unspeakable in polite company. Earth called him a protector. The galaxy called him something else." Callum scratched his beard. "Yaga. That's Russian, ain't it? Some kinda witch name." Anya gave a slow smile. "The name's older than Russia." From the corner console, Elliot chimed in, cross-referencing galactic folklore. Designation Baba Yaga, recorded in over 62 species terror codices. Themes include inexplicable disappearances, the walking of starships with legs, and psychological warfare involving baked goods. Mireille blinked. "Did it say baked goods?" "Yes," said Anya. "Father once ended a standoff by mailing a diplomat's favorite pastry, still warm, with a bullet inside. That's horrifyingly polite." "He believed in manners," she said. "And vengeance with a personal touch." Elliot's voice interrupted gently. "Contact imminent. Hostile ships increasing comm channel broadcast. Should I patch them through?" Anya straightened. "Yes. Let's say hello." The view shifted. 3 alien commanders appeared on separate holoscreens, each from a different species, each radiating the same sour cocktail of arrogance and unease. First was Commander Telvanek of the Strak, long-limbed, spined, with a mouth that split vertically like a zipper made of knives. "Human anomaly," he hissed. "You are in possession of stolen property, and have violated over 17 interstellar sovereignty codes. Return the vessel or face annihilation." Anya offered a warm smile. "Hello to you too. Love the background lighting, very dungeon chic." The commander blinked. "This is not a time for humor." "It never is," she said. "Which is why humans keep using it." The second screen lit up. Admiral Soriai of the Grelvins, round, gelatinous, with eyes that blinked independently, spoke in cool tones. "Anya Yaga. That name is recorded as extinct." "That's what the Empire told itself," she replied. "Because pretending is easier than surviving." "You're bluffing." "No, I'm steeping." The final screen sparked, and the third voice emerged, a low, growling baritone. Felidari warlord R.A. Sharn, black-furred and steel-clawed, leaned forward until only his golden eyes filled the view. Your father was a myth. A shadow. A scarecrow used to keep cowards in line. Anya stepped forward, voice almost a whisper. You'd better pray that's still true. The screens went dark. Elliot cleared his throat. Well. That went well. Callum clapped once. I love how she's terrifying and charming in equal measure. It's like watching a kitten smile as it loads a rocket launcher. Don't be dramatic, Anya said. Elliot beeped. Dramatics aside, they're arming torpedoes. Redirect power to hull camo. Begin override of their targeting system. With what code, Commander? Dad's chessboard. There was a pause. Oh, said Elliot. Oh. Suddenly, the bridge lights dimmed, and the ship hummed like it was remembering something cruel. Lines of ancient code, written in Cyrillic, danced across the consoles. Every piece of tech aboard the enemy ships flickered in turn. Holograms dissolved, sensors bled static, and all across 3 warships, weapons locked onto themselves. Aboard the Thrak ship, Commander Telvanek screamed into a failing radio. We are not authorized for Yaga-class warfare. This is forbidden. A soft earth lullaby played through their comms. Back aboard Anya's bridge, Callum raised a brow. Wait, are they shooting themselves? They're reconsidering their day, she said. With assistance. But how did you do that? Anya poured more tea. Father didn't fight wars. He wrote them. As one ship spun wildly into a stasis loop and another blinked into hyperspace without coordinates, vanishing forever into dark space, only one remained. The Felidari warship. R.A. Sharn did not flee. He activated personal shielding, engaged every failsafe, and locked coordinates on Anya's location. His ship broke through the scramble net, barreling toward them with speed meant for collision, not capture. He's coming, Elliot warned. Anya's eyes narrowed. Good. The room braced. Klaxons wailed. The human civilians began to buckle in, fear rising despite their newfound awe. Only Anya remained unshaken. Why's he not backing down? Mireille asked. Pride, Anya said. Old, brittle pride. The Felidari vessel hit them. But it didn't destroy them. Instead, in a controlled impact, R.A. Sharn's ship docked. Direct physical boarding. An ancient tactic. An insult. Within minutes, the bulkhead rattled with boots. Elliot spoke nervously. Multiple hostiles breaching outer corridor. I count at least 20. Let them come, she said softly. You have a plan? I have tea. The lights flickered once. Then again. And then the corridor fell silent. Callum gripped a pipe. Why's it always the quiet that's scariest? Because in the quiet, they heard the first scream. A Felidari warrior stumbled into the bridge's viewport, his claws shredded, his body trembling. His helmet fell away, and beneath it, fear no predator should wear. He whispered something. A single word. Chicken, legs. Then he collapsed. Mireille gasped. Did he say? Don't ask, Anya murmured. You'll sleep better. Footsteps approached. Heavy. Measured. The door hissed open. R.A. Sharn entered, his armor dented, eyes burning with hatred. He tossed aside his gauntlet. Human, he growled. Your tricks are spent. Anya turned slowly. Not tricks. Family. He lunged. But he never reached her. Because in the shadow of that final step, a second figure appeared behind Anya. Silent, solid, dressed in black with a silver collar pin and a walking stick made from petrified bone. The air in the room thickened. R.A. Sharn stopped. The figure did not speak. He only looked. And the Felidari fell to his knees. No, R.A. Sharn rasped. It cannot be. Anya looked back at the man. Tall, old, eyes like winter rain. She smiled. Father. The man nodded once. Then stepped forward. You, he said to R.A. Sharn, broke the treaty. The warlord trembled. We didn't know. You did. You just forgot why you obeyed. He raised the stick. R.A. Sharn closed his eyes. Nothing happened. No weapon fired. No strike fell. Instead, the ship around them shivered, every bolt, every screw, and screamed. Not aloud, but in frequencies older than language. In the void outside, stars blinked out. Anya touched her father's arm. "We need him alive." He sighed. "Pity," and walked away. R.A. Sharn collapsed, panting. "You've seen him now," Anya said gently. "That's more than most. You'll live. With memory." He looked up, defeated. "What are you?" Anya leaned in. Her voice was kind. "I'm human. But I have my father's eyes." By the time Earth's formal delegation arrived to retrieve the civilians, the ship was sterilized, repurposed, and broadcasting a welcome message in 4,000 dialects. R.A. Sharn was turned over to the Galactic Court of Reckoning. He never spoke again. But the tale spread. Of a girl taken in chains, who drank tea and smiled as her captors fell. Of a man with a stick who made war obsolete. And of Earth, which had let the galaxy forget, until it decided it was time to remember. Back aboard the now nameless vessel, Anya stood beside her father, overlooking a growing fleet of ships without flags. Earth's ships, built from repurposed wreckage and long silent codes. He sipped tea for the first time in a decade. "I taught you well," he said. "You taught me too much," she replied. They clinked cups. The galaxy stirred. And far away, in the halls of the Slavers' Guild, every slave manifest was overwritten by a single line. "Do not engage with any individual bearing the name YAGA. Ever." The line was highlighted in red. And underneath it, in a dead Earth dialect, one word was written in Cyrillic. It translated simply to remember. The Council of Galactic Unity, such as it was, convened in panic. Not diplomacy. Not protocol. Panic. It met in the weeping citadel of Varlex 9, a floating obsidian fortress known for its detachment from warfare, neutrality, and very expensive chairs. That detachment was now in question. So were the chairs, as one of them had just exploded from the sheer pressure of a Grelvan ambassador's glands firing in terror. Across the room, holograms of 100 species buzzed, argued, shrieked, and pleaded. One word echoed through them all. "Yaga." "It's a trick," roared the Umari representative, her horns shuddering. "The humans are bluffing. They're still Class 4 primitives." "No," whispered a Plavari noble, his 6 eyes blinking out of sequence. "You didn't see what they did to the Felidari cruiser. They made it disappear." "I've read the reports," spat another. "One girl. One ship. And half a fleet vanished." "It wasn't the girl," said a quiet voice at the back of the room. All heads turned. It was a Sarthak general, an ancient insectoid with mandibles polished from centuries of silence. "It was the plan," he said. "The plan behind the girl." No one responded. Because deep down, they already knew. Back aboard her ship, now rechristened the Baba's teacup in a moment of absolute satire, Anya Yaga watched the galaxy ripple. "Have they formed the council yet?" she asked, without turning. "Yes," replied Elliot, "the ship's ever-helpful AI. And they are screaming in 17 languages simultaneously." She smiled. "Good. That means they're halfway to understanding." The stars beyond shimmered. Earth's influence was spreading, not through weapons but through voids. Information voids. Ships disappearing. Codes collapsing. Treaties rewritten in their own languages before they could blink. All courtesy of a single, carefully placed piece on the galactic board. Her. "They think this is about revenge," she said. "But it's not." "No?" asked Mireille, seated nearby with a data slate. "It's about memory," Anya replied. "Because they forgot us. Forgot what Earth is. Forgot who my father was." "And what are we reminding them of exactly?" asked Callum from the engine deck, where he was fixing a burned-out grav joint with a hammer and chewing gum. "That we don't warn people. We just wait." The ship jolted. "Contact," Elliot said. "Unidentified stealth vessel approaching. It's broadcasting diplomatic codes. Very old ones." "Human?" Anya asked. "Not entirely." She nodded. Bring it in. Within minutes, the ship docked. Its hull bore no insignia, but its airlock hissed with precision Earth-built mechanisms. A figure stepped out, tall, androgynous, dressed in diplomat gray with a pin bearing a broken teacup. "Representative Yaga," they said with a bow. "Courier from Soulfleet?" She guessed. "Not quite. I'm from Archive Division Theta 9. "Oh," said Anya. "The librarians." "Archivists," they corrected gently. "We preserve patterns of conflict. You're in violation of 17 protocols and 6 galactic myths. Also, you made R.A. Sharn cry. He tried to enslave me." "Still." They handed her a slim black case. It was embossed with a sigil that hadn't been seen since the Silent War, a quill stabbed through a helmet. She opened it. Inside were tea leaves. Anya smiled. He remembered. The courier nodded. "The full pattern is active. Do you wish to proceed?" "I've already begun." They left without another word. The trap began unfolding in places no one thought to look. Not on battlefields. Not in fleets. But in whispers, rumors, AI glitches, station malfunctions, food shortages where rations had never failed, and diplomatic summits where key figures didn't show because they simply weren't there anymore. Whole species began falling into confusion. The Yaga Protocol, once a dormant program embedded in Earth's Strategic Defense Initiative, now ran galaxy-wide through silent nodes left in ancient trade agreements and peaceful research stations. When the Empire took Earth's people, they also took those hidden nodes, unknowingly embedding Earth's code into their own systems. It had all started with tea. On Grelvan Prime, the high market suddenly crashed when all trade algorithms reclassified humans as non-transferable cultural entities, causing a planetary AI loop that renamed every citizen Dave. On the moon of Ilex 4, a memorial for the ancient Tarvaxi War was found rewritten. The war had vanished from history. In its place, a single sentence. Don't take what's not offered. Especially if it's breathing. In the trade ring of Arxis, a gala turned sour when every holographic display began showing Earth recipes, alternating with audio files of old Earth lullabies. Attendees panicked. 2 fainted at the phrase, "Rockabye baby." And then, it got worse. Ships stopped responding. AI-controlled fleets began performing maneuvers never programmed into them. Ancient Terran battle formations that hadn't been seen in centuries. "They've activated it," Anya said aboard the Baba's teacup. "The network of lies." "The net? The Empire?" asked Callum. "No," she said. "We did. 100 years ago. Back when Baba was still teaching. In the Empire's central data vault, a moon-sized repository of secrets, currency, and blood packs, the lights went red. Not emergency red. T-red. A message played in every chamber. "This is a courtesy notice from the Yaga estate. Your account is overdrawn." A boom shook the vault. Doors sealed. Files began erasing themselves alphabetically. When the vaultmaster tried to disconnect the core, he found it rewritten with Earth-standard password prompts. He typed, "Help." The response, "Please enter your grandmother's favorite jam." The system detonated. Mireille stared at the reports. "This is surgical. I thought Earth didn't have the fleet for this." "It doesn't," Anya said. "Then what is this?" "It's what happens," Anya said gently, "when you let a myth do paperwork for 70 years. In the dark corners of the Empire, certain species began to reconsider their alliances. The Sthrak, longtime supporters of the Guild, held a silent meeting. The elder of their caste opened a drawer labeled Yaga that hadn't been touched since the Great Silence. Inside was a tea kettle. Still warm. They voted to withdraw support. In the Jandari marsh worlds, scholars uncovered an ancient mosaic depicting a woman with wild hair standing in the ruins of an empire. She held no weapon. Only a cup. And behind her, a man with eyes like firelight on bone. The caption was in dead language. It translated roughly to, "The daughter who smiles while the world ends." The mosaic was declared heretical. The people made it their flag. On board the Baba's teacup, the stars were shifting. Anya leaned against the viewport. It's working. Callum crossed his arms. You think they'll collapse? No, she said. They'll adapt. They'll evolve. That's what fear does to tyrants. They stop reaching. They start hoarding. Elliot's voice cut in. Incoming transmission. Scrambled. Looks Terran. Play it. The screen lit up with a man in a worn-out suit. His face was weary, his hair silver. Behind him, Earth. Still blue. Still burning with quiet fury. To all peoples of the stars. We are not conquerors. We are not monsters. But you took one of ours. And you will now live with the understanding that Earth forgets nothing. He held up a spoon. It was a simple spoon. But the Empire had trained its intelligence analysts too well. They ran simulations. Spoon trajectory. Reflective capability. Hidden weapon coding. One simulation suggested the spoon was an anti-fleet beacon. One suggested it wasn't a spoon. They panicked. Anya watched calm. The spoon was always his favorite symbol. Why? Mireille asked. Because it feeds. Or it scoops your eyes out. Duality? Politeness, Anya said. And consequence. The Council of Galactic Unity convened again. Only 38 delegates showed up. The rest had either resigned, defected, or were currently experiencing technical tier-related anomalies. The new chairwoman, a Zolari matriarch with 20 brains, proposed immediate peace talks with Earth. A vote passed. Unanimously. The motion was called the Treaty of Porcelain. Back in the ship, the human survivors of the original slaver raid gathered. They had seen too much. Survived more. Most of them had started as freight haulers, miners, cooks. Now, they spoke of strategy like old soldiers. Anya stood among them. We weren't chosen for strength, she said. We were chosen because we were reachable. Because the slavers thought we were vulnerable. Callum raised his mug. Joke's on them. Mireille laughed. We were. Then we met you. No, Anya corrected. You remembered who you were. I just reminded you. They drank in silence. The stars turned. In the shadows of collapsing empires, graffiti began to appear. Across walls, databanks, even starfields hacked by rogue satellites. It said only, we serve tea. Not chains. And sometimes, beneath it, Yaga walks. In a quiet corridor aboard the teacup, Anya sat alone with a kettle and a map. Her father's map. Not of terrain, but of minds. Patterns. Cracks in systems too old to know they were broken. She traced a route. It wasn't war. Not yet. But it was coming. Behind her, a message blinked. It was a simple ping. No text. Just a single tone. The kind only one person in the universe could have sent. Her father. She stared at it for a long time, then poured another cup. Soon, she whispered. But not yet. They still need to understand. The trap had been laid in leaves. Now came the part where the cup tipped. The stars above the Jern expanse hadn't changed in 1,000 cycles, but tonight, something ancient stirred behind their cold light. The Empire's last stronghold, a black diamond of a station called the Lattice Crown, floated in silence, cloaked in magnetic veils, surrounded by 6 planetary defense rings and 2 fleets bristling with every known weapon from quantum lances to particle mines. It was the kind of fortress built not to fight wars, but to survive them. Inside its heart sat the Council's last spine, Supreme Regent Val Drath. He was not born of noble blood, nor was he raised to command. He had clawed his way through assassins, court coups and treaty betrayals to sit atop the throne of policy and profit. He'd overseen the exploitation of 17 species, the harvesting of 2 minor moons, and the quiet disappearance of an entire rebellion through well-timed famine. He'd built his rule on silence and fear. And yet, now, he sat in the dark with his hands shaking over a cold cup of tea. The name haunted him, whispered in the seams of council tapestries and prison walls alike. Yaga. She's just a girl, he muttered to himself. A legacy myth. An avatar of a dead era. But then he looked at the reports again. Planetary network failures. AI rogue protocols. diplomats defecting, slaver colonies declaring neutrality, battlecruisers deleting their own firewalls, an entire generation of Empire-trained tacticians surrendering because a mural of a teacup showed up on a hallway wall. Valdrath stood and crossed the room. The terminal awaited him. One override code. That was all it would take. A purge command. Erase the rogue Earth network and every seed it planted. Cut off the head of the infection. Crush this Yaga myth beneath protocol and nuclear precision. He entered the code. Then paused. And blinked. The screen changed. Hello. This is Anya. Would you like to talk about your feelings? He tried again. The screen simply said, no. And the lights went out. In the void just outside the lattice crown, a lone ship approached. No escort. No fleet. Just the Baba's teacup, gliding through the Empire's teeth as if it belonged there. Cloak deactivated, Elliot said. Shields holding. Defensive batteries have not engaged. Callum looked over the sensors. Are they blind? No, Anya replied. They're watching. She stood at the helm, dressed in a matte black coat with a threadbare Soviet patch on one sleeve and a silver ring on her finger carved from a melted war medal. She didn't smile, didn't blink. Her silence wasn't emptiness, it was potential. What's the plan? Mireille asked. We talk, Anya said. And if they shoot us? They won't. You sound sure. They haven't figured out which would be worse. The comms buzzed. An old voice answered. Anya Yaga. You have entered restricted space. State your demands. She spoke without hesitation. Audience with Valdrath. Alone. No guards. No. Just me. And tea. There was a long pause. Then, docking bay 9. Elliot blinked. He's really letting us in? Anya turned. He's too proud not to. The hangar bay was empty, save for 2 shadowed figures and a long hallway lined with obsidian pillars. Valdrath waited at the end. She walked alone. No weapon. No shield. Just the slow, echoing click of her boots. You're brave, Valdrath said when she reached him. No, she replied. I'm inevitable. He studied her face. You don't look like a killer. I'm not, she said. That's not my inheritance. Then what is? She poured from a metal flask into 2 cups. Steam rose, scented with mint and starroot. I was born to remember. He accepted the cup with a slow, wary hand. You think this ends with conversation? He asked. No, she said softly. It ends with choice. Choice? You believe you built an empire. You didn't. You inherited someone else's mistake. And you carried it forward like a virus, dressing it in progress and branding it with laws. He looked down at the tea. And what do you offer? Perspective. Consequences. Tea. He drank. She drank. They stared. In the silence, something shifted. The ceiling flickered. Stars appeared above them, projections not from the crown systems, but from hers. Every system, every node of the empire, mapped in motion. You planted roots, he whispered. Everywhere. It wasn't sabotage, she said. It was compost. Your cruelty fertilized it. The stars blinked. Whole sectors dimmed. Colonies gone dark, weapons offline, banking networks rewired. Valdrath stood. This is genocide. No, she said. This is harvest. The throne behind him melted. Literally. A quiet hiss. The alloy collapsing into slag, revealing a hollow inside. A spoon lay there. Not metal. Bone. His hands shook. I can stop this, he whispered. No, she said. You can accept it. What do you want? I want the next generation to fear less than the last. I want children to walk without chains. And I want your name carved into the archives under lesson. He sank back down. And if I refuse? She stood. And behind her, the shadows moved. Baba Yaga stepped from the dark. Not a man, not anymore. Just the echo of precision, cloaked in bones and silence. Valdrath saw him, and understood. He'd never been dealing with one. This was a family. The old human stepped forward, leaned down and said, "If you refuse, we leave. And the galaxy will know what you did. Every shame. Every betrayal. Every secret. Your empire will not burn. It will erode. Slowly. Shamefully. Forgotten not as tyrants, but as fools." Valdrath bowed his head. "What must I sign?" Anya offered a datapad. No threat. Just a contract. Her father offered a pen. No signature. Just blood. The Empire surrendered. News traveled fast. The Yaga Accord was signed by 76 systems in 20 hours. The guild dissolved. Slavery became a galactic taboo overnight. And everywhere the accord was signed, a simple ritual was observed. Tea shared in silence, between enemies under the stars. Back aboard the Baba's teacup, Anya stared at the map. It had changed. The red zones were gone. But so were the green. Now, everything was gray. Possibility. Mireille approached. "It's over." "No," Anya said. "It's begun." "What happens now?" Anya poured tea into 3 cups. "One goes to the people," she said. "One to the past. And the third?" She smiled faintly. "To the ghosts." Her father joined her, silent. He nodded. Then he vanished into the corridor. A shadow returning to shadow. She sat quietly. Drinking. Watching. Waiting. Not for war. For questions. Because when myths return, they don't scream. They whisper.